The Giants are currently in 7th place, and they have a possibility of challenging for 5th. When they're playing an opponent that they know, that they can prepare for, that they understand, they play well. But the unknown is what really messes them up. They tend to do well in the lanes individually, and I believe if they get in-game leadership when it matters, they'll be able to pick up more victories more often.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the League of Legends Championship Series studios here in Cologne. So, against all authorities, it's all about Dude right now. And honestly, we saw them against Gambit. They looked fantastic.
Yes, he did. I mean, every single play you saw in the bottom lane with him and Nono, just the comfort level that evolved from there is just ridiculous. Their whole play style has changed. They've been just doing a phenomenal job. And it's really an 80 carry support lane that people can be scared of. Yeah, and you know, overall, against all authority, they actually have a legitimate problem right now because Giants looked good against Team Geniuses. This is kind of the battle for 6th and 7th right now, and if Giants get the win, I think they'll be equal on wins with AAA. I think they're actually equal losses as well. They will be if Giants were to win. Yeah, but I mean, we've seen against authority from where they used to be a couple of weeks ago to when Dude finally came in the team. It's just a completely different team. Like they changed so much. You saw them go head to head against Gambit. It made them work for that game, which we haven't seen Gambit really do in a long time. They've just been stopping teams left and right. But against authority, if they continue on this trend, if they keep practicing every single day, every single week, they could continue to hold that spot. Well, the new Dude is the man we want to talk about. He had a fantastic first week, and in the first 3 games, they won the 2 of them. And he actually only died 4 times in those 3 games. You know, he had a fantastic assist record. Only got the 1 kill, so he's not a scumbag, so it's okay. But everything in that team seems to have picked up, improved. You know, bearing in mind these guys can both speak French to each other now, the duo lane, and at that instantly, you know, everybody can react quicker. We saw the same thing happen with the Copenhagen Wolves. Once that final completion lineup of Bjergsen coming back, everybody suddenly speaking Danish, everybody could react quicker. And the thing is, we've known Nono as being a really good AD carry. Like we've seen him on Vayne, we've seen him Ezreal so many times do a phenomenal job, but it's just that laning phase. He never seemed to do amazingly well in it, but now with Dude, he's finally able to shine. And it's really nice to see how it's really refreshing to see how different it is. Well, the question is, are they peaking at the right time though? Because they're coming into the promotion relegation series. That's kind of the time, if you're down there, I guess that's the time you want to shine. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get that second win, you might as well get towards the end of the season because you're going to need it if you do end up going down in the relegation matches to win those because it's going to be a long journey to get those, I believe, best of 5 games to really keep your spot. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, this week, we got a chance to visit Against All Authority House, of course, their brand new gaming house here in Cologne. Let's see how the teams are coping with living together and which of the players is assigned to doing the dishes.
Even if your gaming house is not the cleanest, I invite you to take a look, and especially in my room, because she's so... Oh, hey! Hello everyone, welcome to the AA mansion. Let's go, I will show you the house.
Yeah, so I'm just joined the gaming house. It's very new for me.
For me, it's different because I was living near to my parents.
I want to show you this painting because I just painted it and I think it's pretty well. I can sell it and earn a lot of money. Yeah. Now I will show you the kitchen where my mate Jude is cleaning the dishes. Because as you can see, he's carrying everywhere, in-game and even in the real life.
Now that we live together, it's a lot harder in terms of cleaning and keeping everything clean.
The second one is a refrigerator for stuff like pizza, ice cream, good stuff.
The hard part there is the cooking. We can cook for us, but for 5 people it's kinda hard and we cook the same.
Normal food with meat, yogurt and some vegetables like tomato. Okay, let's go. I will show you my room. Welcome in my room, the cleanest room of the gaming house for sure. And I will show you the cupboard where I put all my stuff, like my clothes, the gaming stuff, and I put everything. I will show you then my bed, my babouche, Moroccan shoes, and the bannier from a fan, which I'm really proud about it. We are not only gamers, we spend a lot of time out of computer, not in front of computer, by reading books or doing other stuff. And as well, I try to improve my English. And now we are here in the most important part of the gaming house, the gaming room, where we practice and chill out.
So before, practicing was kind of hard for us because we are on the hotel. We had no PC and no good connection.
We can practice together a lot easier.
It's easy to create a relationship between us, to be more friendly because we all live together.
Now we are here, it's for the game, so we have to have a different point of view as before. So yeah, that's an opportunity for us to be 5 members of the same team and in the same house to communicate and to create some friendship.
Everyone is near to each other and we practicing together, watching replay together. It's like a family now and we work hard on it.
A very grin-happy team there, or at least 3 of them anyway, let's put it that way.
I was expecting a mirror in Nono's room for him to practice his smile.
Yeah,
He's
just to
always
sit
grinning.
staring, grinning at himself.
He would never look away.
But at least, you know, he can fall back on his painting career if
Yes.
he needs to, of course. So the next game is going to be Giants versus Against All Authority, as you've just seen there. And this is really a battle to stay out of 7th place. Relegation spot that Giants currently reside in. But, of course, we've already just seen Giants. They've just picked up a win against EG.
Yeah, and, you know, we can say that the favorite for this game looks like it will be Against All Authority, but after the way Giants played earlier, it's really up in the air at this point. But no, you have to know Against All Authority are 2 up against Giants following the win last week. And we saw yesterday how impactful Diode can be, but can he continue to play this solid? Because the Giants seem to be running out of steam. We saw that breath of fresh air come out of nowhere for the Giants against EG earlier. But we'll see if they can pick up a much-needed win versus Against All Authority.
So let's take a look at the teams, of course. For Giants, they are going to be the blue side. It is Samax, Morden, Extermin, Jim Bones, and Babetta.
Of course, over on the Against All Authority side, Freddy122, Virtual, Schleia, and of course the man from the video, Nono and Diode.
The dishwasher, Diode. Supporting everywhere, of course. Let's take a moment to look at the highlighted players from each team. For Giants, it's all about Extermin. He's the man that we've been looking towards and actually had a pretty good game just a few moments ago.
Yes, he did. Extermin currently has the 2nd lowest KDA out of all mid players. He's been playing a lot of AP assassins lately, like Diana, Twisted Fate, Cassin, so you expect some more kills, but hopefully we'll be working on that in the future. And of course, whenever Giants are having a good game, you always see this man at the forefront of the team. He really needs to reach that level once again to help build this confidence back in the team.
And of course, for Against All Authorities, this time it's all about their new support dude, Diode.
Diode has died only 4 times in the last 3 games and ended up with 1 kill and those 34 assists. He has shown over these past 2 weeks how good of a support he is. He's creating opportunities for No to pick up kills. His stush yesterday was insane, and I wouldn't be surprised to see targeted bans against him. The new life Diode has given to his team completely changed their playstyle, as we saw yesterday in their match, or in their brutally close match versus Gambit Gaming.
It was a very, very close matchup. A 60-minute game. First 60-minute game we've had for a while here in the LCS, I believe, as well. So it's been a while. But it's proper epic, and honestly,
Yes.
it could have gone either way. So Against All Authorities, they're looking good. We've just seen Giants 2 games ago. They've beaten EG already today. You know, they're actually 2-1 against Evil Geniuses, I believe, and they're 2-1 against Gambit. Why can't they do this against everyone else?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's where the team is underestimating them or they just seem to rise to the challenge. They're like, oh, we're against one of the top teams in Europe. We should really go use every ability we can to kind of beat them.
From that point of view, I wonder if it's a motivational issue. So this is actually a legitimate problem that every sports star in every game, certainly football, you always see it in football, that the lower teams, the lesser teams, which is a horrible phrase, but you know, when you're down the bottom, you technically are a lower team or a lesser team to the guys at the top. But when they get against them teams, the motivational is so high. But they have struggles to do it against the top. And roles reversed, the top teams, which we will probably with Evil Geniuses, probably put every bit of preparation into that Fnatic game in day 1, and then probably didn't really prepare so much for Giants.
And the thing that really surprised me was, I mean, we can all honestly say we didn't expect that amazing of a game when Giants versus EG played, but we also saw some signs of them kind of, I don't want to say it really, but kind of giving up, where they just seemed to not really care too much. They were just giving away kills, but just out of nowhere, they just come at you full force and catch you off guard, and that might have been their plan all along. Maybe they'll be able to pick up enough wins to actually take that 6th place spot back.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether Kennen sneaks his way through the picks and bans. Of course, picks and bans coming up in just a moment. There's in close on Samax. Samax, the man we saw with interviews earlier on. Very good performance from them guys. How is he going to be able to lead his team through these picks and bans? What are we expecting to be taken away other than AD Kennen?
Yeah, well, that was actually the first thing I was going to say right there, but you know, we should probably take Thresh away from Diode. That would be a smart play for Giants, as we do see it taken away right off the bat. But Exeter, you have to focus him with bans a little bit, unless you want to see Schleia maybe play that Kassadin. That would be a nice ban to take away. And also Morden, he's very tricky when you want to try to ban him out because he plays a lot of different junglers, like Dr. Mundo. We've seen Elise out of him, but he also can play the really conventional ones like Nasus, like Volibear. So you might want to take away a couple of things away from him, but mostly it's the Against All Authorities bot lane that you want to focus on. Maybe get Nono out of his comfort zone.
The Babetta eyebrows, and now the Extermin eyebrows giving to us. Any more eyebrows from the teams that's going to come out there? And
I can't do that. I'm actually sad. I can't do the eyebrow lift. I can move my
You
ears.
can't move your eyebrows?
I can move my ears, but not my eyebrows. Like I can do the rock one where you lift one up, but that's about it.
The Rock. Wow. There's a smiley man, though. He doesn't want to grin to the camera. Bless him. It's no. Now he's grinning. I swear, I mean, he's got an infectious grin. I think everybody watching the stream now is probably smiling. It's one of those infectious smiles that everybody's like, yeah, he's a really happy dude.
And the thing is, you can probably look at it and be like, he's probably just putting that on for the camera, but we've been with him outside of LCS, and he's always smiling. That's just his personality.
The main one for me is when they lost to Copenhagen Wolves. They were the first team to lose them, and he had a big, broad grin across his face. He was so happy for the Wolves that they just got their first victory.
Yeah, I mean, that's great sportsmanship out of him, though. And you don't really see that too often out of players nowadays, just to be happy for another team to win. We saw it with EG versus Copenhagen Wolves at Lille. EG was just so happy for them because that was such a good game, back and forth, non-stop. But that's a sportsmanship you come to really enjoy out of these teams.
Yeah, they were all stood on the middle of the stage. It was great to see. So you can see the teams, they are preparing. It's Against All Authorities we're just waiting for. And actually, the delay that we had here was they were the wrong side. So Giants should be on the blue team. They were on the red team. And it was like, when they went to pick some bands, like, hold on a minute. What are you doing? We're meant to be on that side. It's our advantage. Or is it an advantage? Whoa! That's a definitely statistical problem we'll have to look at. And I know the people at Riot definitely look at this. They keep their eyes on this one. I say the people. I am one of those people. I always forget that. I always forget that I am actually a Rioter. We feel a little abandoned over here.
But still, we do have picks and bans coming in right now. Thresh and Renekton taken away from Giants, and Kennen being taken away from Against All Authority. And I wouldn't be surprised really to see maybe the Jarvan and Rumble kind of looked at, because that was such a key champions for Giants to beat beat Evil Geniuses.
Well, it's, Thresh being banned out, Kennen being taken away as well as Renekton and Kha'Zix. And Kha'Zix, well, we've seen some pretty amazing plays from Kha'Zix lately, but we've also seen some pretty average ones as well. So it's interesting to see that they've taken that away from Extermin, because I don't ever remember Extermin or Samux having a go on the Kha'Zix.
That is really is interesting, because maybe they just don't want it picked, flat out. They weren't really planning on playing it. They don't want anyone to kind of catch them off guard, the Giant side. But the Shen and Elise coming in, we still have that Rumble available. We have the Jarvan available, and those, like we were just saying, those are the key champions they needed for Evil Geniuses. Will they run that again? I guess we're going to find out as time does go on.
So Shen and Elise, which leaves a number of things open. And Jarvan being one of them, of course, Volibear in there as well as Nasus. Kind of the familiar junglers we've seen a lot lately. And it does look like Diana, though, is going to be picked up for Slayer, of course. We have had Extermin playing Diana quite a few times lately.
Quite a bit indeed. And I'm looking at this right now, Demon. I think if we see Rumble locked in for Giants, I think we're going to see Dio on Janna again. Okay. I think that's always a good potential. That shield will help anyone inside the circle. You can knock everyone else away that tries to get in there and help out. You can heal them while they're taking the damage over time from Rumble. And he's actually played a phenomenal Janna the first time he actually made his debut.
So since I didn't get to see that debut, how did he build Janna? Did he go the same way that Patoy's been building it in Elements, which is pretty heavy AP, actually? They've got Morella Nomicon in there.
No, it was just a standard support build, just trying to help his team out. But, I was actually kind of caught off guard by Patoy doing that in Elements, but it's really effective. Like the cooldown reduction you get, the healing reduction, which is really key when 80 carries are building so much lifesteal these days. We could always see them actually kind of use that, but Against Authority, they do lock in the Diana, and they have another champion to go here in Virtual. They could always go for their jungler, but they do take Zyra, which is a very smart job by them, because we know Babetta can play Zyra. We saw previously just how phenomenal every single one of his ultimates were, and then Extra also can play Zyra in the mid lane.
Yeah, trying to actually go for the disruption possibly here for against the Giants. A very close record, actually, between these teams. They're obviously always played each other a number of times. Both came through from the LCS qualifiers that were live qualifiers in Warsaw, of course. So they know each other very well. Let's see what Giants are going to go with here. What were you expecting? You're expecting the AD carrying supports here?
Well, it's a tough call, because they're going to give away what they're actually going to be going for. I mean, they already showed the Jarvan, so that kind of shows you what they're going to go for, trying to lock you down kind of composition. They could always go for their support here, or maybe maybe even a Ryze. I mean, we haven't seen Extra play him that much, but Ryze does fairly well against Diana. You build naturally tanky, you're going to be able to lock someone down so she can't assassinate anyone in your back line, but that's what we'll find out.
Corellius isn't here, but Giants are looking like they're going to take Sona away nevertheless. And Ashe also being picked up. So last second switch to Varus. That does make more sense to me.
Yeah, well, Ashe is one of the champions like Ashe Misfortune that Jim Bones likes to play when he doesn't have that cannon available. But Varus, I mean, I have to say, he kind of came out of nowhere in LCS. I mean, we knew he was played in Korea quite a bit. We knew Yellow Pete was working on it back in Season 2 and early Season 3, but it just seems like everyone realized, wow, he's very strong. He's really strong in the lane phase, and also with the current meta, everyone's stacking health, everyone's stacking armor. That percent health damage you're going to do is really effective.
So, on towards Against All Authority. Decisions have to be made here. They've had a number of bans against them, namely Renekton and Thresh, two big champions that Against All Authorities like to rely on. Freddy122, of course, on that Renekton.
I think we're going to see Ezreal come out of No-No again. It's a very safe champion right now.
It's something he always plays.
Yeah.
So it would not be a shock, I think it's safe to say.
I know I'm not really stretching out there for that prediction right there, but still, it's a very safe champion. It gets you out of the Jarvan, it gets you out of the Sona if you are timed it correctly. And as I say that, it goes for Vayne instead. So
just to completely throw us out and catch out any predictions. Nasus, of course, is going to get picked up. Does that mean we're going to see anything different from the Giants? We do see a Draven or Aurelia being hovered over, but Vayne being picked up there. Vayne against Varus.
It's okay. Varus is going to have the advantage in the laning phase quite a bit, but as Vayne approaches level 6, he should be able to take him head to head. It all just comes down to if Nono can dodge the Crescendo and dodge the ultimate of Varus, he will be able to take him in a 1v1 any day. But I wouldn't really expect them to go in a 2v2 situation. If you're going to use Vayne, you want to make sure he has an easy laning phase, make sure he is able to farm up enough for the late game where he's really effective. So I would assume we would see a lane switch out of them.
So Aurelia and Twisted Fate looking like they may well get locked in here by the Giants. Of course, Twisted Fate is a champion we saw Extermin playing against Evil Geniuses. Didn't use that ultimate too heavily, in fact. Didn't really get too involved, but could we see it Olaf? It would be ages since we saw Olaf. Week 1 absolutely dominated by Olaf, but that patch change that came in towards the Giants belt took him away. But it does look like that's what Samox wants to go towards.
I believe the last time we saw Olaf picked was actually Kevin out of SK, I think 2 weeks ago. And he did a great job. I mean, he played him back in week 1, like you're saying, and he just destroyed enemy teams. But, you know, with that pick, so he cannot be interrupted by anyone in the other team. So anyone that you're going to use, like the Wither is now useless, the Moonfall out of Diana is now useless, the Grasping Roots out of Zyra, not to mention the ultimate is useless. So he's going to head straight for Vayne every single time right here. And no, he's going to play it really defensive now because they have a lot of abilities to actually grab him. And Kayle wouldn't be a bad pickup because if you want to protect that Vayne, that's probably the champion you want to use for it, and that would be another support out of Dio that we haven't seen.
I'm trying to figure out the team composition. We're going to have the support Zyra in there, which would mean top lane Kayle? What is Freddy122 going to play? I mean, bearing in mind he does play mid lane as well sometimes. He could switch around, so he actually could play that Diana up top. I would expect Zyra to be the support here, but it could be support Kayle as well. This is confusing for me, let alone you.
I'm trying to look at it, and we could see Diana in the top lane. That was just a possibility. We could see Kayle in the mid lane, then the support Zyra. And we've seen Diana actually work quite well in the top lane if you know how to play her correctly. But he would be against an Olaf, which... Actually, no, so we're going to be in like a 1v2 situation.
Well, we've seen top lane Nasus as well.
Yes,
you know, as well as jungle Nasus. And we could have jungle, mid, or top lane Kayle, or support. I mean, they've got a lot of champions that are actually going to keep Giants guessing as well as us.
They're going to pull a Dragonborn, switch last second on us. And, and we'll be able to find out. But, you know, look at the compositions overall. We have a pretty...
They're waiting to switch. You can see the hot, but they're all sat with the mouses ready to transfer. So we're not going to get to see it. Actually, yes, we will, because we can see their hands ready and waiting to go with those transfers. Unfortunately, we're looking at Giants and not Against All Authority. So we won't see the switch, but it doesn't come in. So it's Freddy122 going to potentially be in that mid lane. So it's going to be the lane swaps coming around here. And it's going to be a top lane by the looks of it, Kayle.
I think it was actually going to be a mid lane Kayle because you're against Twisted Fate and he's running teleport. So to me, that's saying he wants to be able to follow him around. And whenever he comes in, you pop that Kayle on whoever he's going to hit it with. You keep them alive and you can turn that gank around completely. Top lane Diana, I mean, it works. It has always worked in the past. But I don't know how well Freddy actually plays Diana. I'm assuming if he's going to pick it and play a lane like that, then he's very competent with her.
One thing for sure, there's a hell of a lot of damage right there from Against All Authority.
Yeah, that is. You can't even kill one person now on Against All Authority. So if you do even get someone low, you have the Kayle ultimate to save them. And then you have, you know, Diana, you have Kayle, you have Vayne, you even have Zyra just beating on you the entire time. And Giants, they have a tanky lineup. I mean, they have Olaf, they have Jarvan, so they have the tankiness they need. But if Exter or Jimbones go down, they're going to miss a lot of damage, and Nono will be able to 1v1 Olaf as the game gets further in.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. It is Giants as the blue team, and the red team is against all authorities on your screen there. Lots of damage from both these teams, so we're expecting a bit of an action-packed foray into the battle on the Rift. So we'll see who is going to come out on top. Will they go for any level 1 engagements? That's a big question.
Well, with all the damage Against All Authority has, I mean, you kind of could go for it when you have that setup from Nazis, you have the setup from Diana, and mostly the Zyra with that grasping roots, but it looks like they're going to just play a little passive, because like, to me right now, we're talking about the lane swap. You want to give Vayne an easy lane. If anything, early on, I think they want to just spot where the AD carry and support of Giants are going, just so you can kind of swap it in time before the game actually starts.
Swippity swap it?
Swip it, yeah.
I wasn't sure which way you were going with that one.
I don't even know where I was
Morden
going with
is
that
going to use that Demacia standard to keep scouting out those bushes. Looking like Giants want to go for a bit of an invade onto the red buff here. We did see it backfiring against Evil Geniuses, but this time, could they be successful? Of course, they did manage to batter them back at that blue buff, which potentially was a bit of a mistake by EG, but it doesn't look like Against All Authorities want to take the bait, and they are going to stick around in their own mid lane.
Yeah, they're all grouped up because they don't know exactly where they want to go just yet. They have words to spot who's going where. They might have been able to catch a dude and been able to kind of respond to that in the end, but they're going to stay grouped up. We're going to have, it looks like the AD carry and support of Giants could be going into the top lane, but they'll be going top into another 2v2 situation. And we have Freddy12 and Shlea both picking up a crystalline flask, so you're going to assume they're not going to necessarily win their lane, but they just want to be able to sustain long enough where they can become impactful.
So what do you think? We got a quick pause here, so they're obviously discussing something. You can see Samux took into the referee there, so they're trying to adjust something. But what are we expecting? Obviously, it looks like Against All Authorities and Giants both going to the top lane. Who wants to make that swap? It's got to be surely AAA want that swap, because they don't want Vayne and Zyra versus Varus and Sona.
Yeah, if you do a 1v2 with Olaf versus that Vayne Zyra, he is obviously melee. He's going to be able to farm with Undertow, but he's going to be harassed so much from range with the Vayne and Zyra combo. So you want to give him on also a safe lane. You know you're going to beat them with that Varus Sona combo. If you can kind of predict where they're going to go, you should be able to shut them down quite well. And Against All Authority, you kind of almost have a composition where if you win early on, you're going to be able to snowball that as the game goes on, because you can burst people down so quickly.
So we do see the switches. And Freddy12, do you think we're going to see him maybe being given the blue buff for that bottom lane to be solo a little bit and strong at the start?
That would make it easier for him to farm. I'm not 100% sure, though, if Virtual wants to give that away unless they plan on going for an invade themselves. They do have a ward down in the banana bush, but that's obviously not the ward you actually went down to spot anyone coming in from the jungle. But it looks like they actually have the sense of warding going to be starting at red.
And item-wise, we have a bit of a difference going on. Extermin started out boots and pots, whereas, of course, Shlea has started out with a crystalline flask and pots. Something, you know, if you look towards the Kaos maybe played by Dignitas, obviously looking at Skara, always starting with that Fortitude pot.
Well, like I was saying before, I think he just wants to sustain long enough in lane just to get the items harassed down extra quite a bit, because we've seen him push down the EG game like right off the bat. He would always, or he would get to lane, EG would kind of gank him there, and Froggen did a great job pushing him away. So if he can kind of do that right now with the harass, then he'll be able to obviously delay his level 6. He'll be able to take or capitalize on that, and he'll be able to push lane a lot harder.
So it doesn't look like blue buff's going to be given across. Shlea, of course, returning, and he is going to be sitting in the mid lane against Extermin. So that will be Twisted Fate versus Kel. Down the bottom lane, you can see it's going to be Olaf versus Diana. Diana being run as the solo mid laner. So double AP returning with a vengeance.
And the thing here is in that, we see already in the top lane, that's the damage of early level 2. If you can hit that before the other team, you can push them out. We saw that happen with Hosan and Dragonborns both games. They played today and yesterday. And Giants doing the exact same thing. And we talked about they have the stronger team, or they have the stronger combo early on, and they're going to use that to their advantage.
Samux still not happy here. It's discussing something with that referee again. They didn't pause it for a short while, but it is Samux with his headset off and communicating something between the referees and his best English to German to Spanish. That has to go between these referees, the Bundesliga referees, of course.
I still have no idea what that means.
Here, illegal. Bundesliga, you don't know what Bundesliga is?
I don't.
Wow.
I know what a 6-pointer is now, but not that one.
You realize that is the name of the German Football League?
Now I do.
Wow, it's like the NFL, you know, the Bundesliga.
Okay, that makes more sense. I know the Champions League.
How long have you been in Germany, man?
I know the Champions League.
You know the Champions League. Well done. That's a good start.
I know
That's
a
good
couple
start.
of the penalties in football, like the offsides one.
The offside rule, yeah, that's actually a tricky one. If you've learned that, that's of course we don't have an offside rule here in League of Legends. You can just go anywhere, and Peke would get caught by that offside rule many times, backdooring, and of course lately Froggen, who Crepo actually maintains that he should have had MVP in that game. It wasn't for Froggen doing that, you know, all-star spotlight performance that he did. He's like, there's no need for that. And the reason we lost the fight before that was because Froggen was doing that.
And the funny thing is, on announced desk, Joe and I were talking like, yeah, we're going to give it to Crepo this game. And then we see Froggen pull something off like that, and we look at each other like, we got to give it to Froggen now. I'm sorry, Crepo, we got to give it to Froggen after that.
Yeah, unfortunately, but oh well. Anyway, the game is resumed. You can see the players focusing on towards the screens. We are back into the action, and it is going to be all about, no, it's not going to be about anything, because you see the boss come back in again. Well, looks like it's going to be a PC reboot of Jim Bones, actually. It's him that's rebooted, despite the fact it was Samex that kept pausing it and discussing it. It's Jim Bones that is going to... actually, a lie. It is, of course, Jim Bones on the end there. Now, Samex is right here next to the camera. Wow. Wow.
It's okay,
Week 9.
I mean, you were
I just about learned the face of the player.
You were in North America. You have so many. You have 8 teams of 5. So come on, that's 40 people
I can tell you what
side.
all of those North American players look like. I know that. I've learned all those faces. And it's tricky actually to track between the difference between Babetta and Extermin. You just got to look which one's got less hair on top. Hey, I'm allowed to say it. I'm losing mine. It's all good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Well, I'm grain, unfortunately.
You're what?
I'm grain. So
you're grain?
Yeah. So my father, he grayed and bald at 21. I got the gray, and my brother got the bald.
Grayed and bald at 21?
Yeah.
That's harsh.
Like not fully bald, but he was losing his hair at that point.
But luckily for you, it's your mother's side's parents, I believe.
Yeah, he's bald too.
Anyway, deep conversation here for League of Legends. Pause friends talking about how you get bald. Well, you know, we have a reference right there on the screen, so it's all good. So we have a pause right now, of course. We're just waiting for the PC reboot. Jimbo is actually in the corner there. He's just typing something, so he looks like he's logging into the League of Legends as well. So you can see that happening. So hopefully once he gets back in the screen, we'll be happy and ready to go. So how do you judge these two teams right now? Obviously, we see the lanes, how they're going to sweat out. How do we see it, say, from the very early stages through to the mid stages and through to the end game?
Well, the thing is, I want to judge the game based on champions they picked, but each team has gotten the second wind out of nowhere in the season. I mean, well, we know where Against Authorities came from, but Dude coming into the team, and the Giants just kind of, out of nowhere, just got... It seems like they melded together back as a team. They got their second win, obviously, and they're able to finally take on EG and beat them yet again. But, you know, in terms of the rosters that they have right now, Against Authority needs sort of a decent early game. I mean, you have Vayne later on, so it doesn't really matter in the end, as long as you can hold on to that point. But if they can just snowball a little bit early on, they have the damage to take Giants out completely. And you have the K ultimate to back up any damage or any reply out of the Giants side. But if Jimbones and Exter can kind of stay alive, if Exter can interact with the other lanes, which he didn't do against Evil Geniuses, he can really apply a lot of pressure, especially into this top lane when you have that Sona and you have that Varus.
So it does look like the teams are setting themselves up. There's a ready going back and forward. You can see we're going to try again, as Jimbones says, so we'll see how it goes. And the unpause has come in, and they are back in the action. So here we go. It is Against All Authority versus Giants. Giants as the blue team, Against All Authorities as the red team. If you've missed the game, you missed the action, well, you've missed some fantastic games already. Evil Genius is upset by the Giants this morning. A Fnatic taking down the Dragonborns.
And you already see it in that top lane, just how well Jimbones can really harass down Nono, just from the range from Hell of Arrows. Not to mention, this is the key thing, is that Giants have a great lane to push with, and Against Authority can't really push back that well. Vayne isn't one of those champions and kind of clear waves really quickly, so you have to keep attacking the entire time to keep the pressure off your turret. But we do see, you know, in that top lane, Jarvan's sticking around. Morden wants to make a play here, but we'll see if that actually can happen. And the same side, Virtual is sticking in the tri-bush.
Well, they are both junglers up, ready and waiting. Morden, of course, stood on top of Ward, so they know that he's there. And now we see Virtual. He's going to come around, but he's coming straight across. There's
Teleport
a flash use. Teleport coming in as well. They're going to get the slice straight across. Virtual seems to be the target. He's going to back away. And Slayer now trying to put the damage down, but it's going to reverse. Jimbones laying the smack down on towards Slayer's backside. And he's going to keep him back. Doesn't decide to dive in. And Morden, well, reacted very well. A 3-on-4 situation. Twisted Fate Fate finally joined it. Exterminate is up there in the tri-bush as well. It's going to be a 4-man push from Giants here on the top turret.
I was going to say, that was not a smart play against Authority to go in there and try to go for an engage, because it forced the teleport out of Schleia, and if Extra stayed in that middle lane, it was pushing it, he would get such a level advantage over Schleia, not to mention the teleport being down that he'd be able to interact with all these different lanes. But like you're saying, that 4-man push to be able to get a very early turret here, and Schleia, he's going to have to come back top. Giants could keep pushing if they really want to.
Well, if they're going to keep on pushing the turret, why don't he put the Demacia standard down and help everyone out? We're just going to take it anyway. No help, no love from Morden on this Demacia standard there, but they do take the first turret nevertheless of the game. 4.5 minutes into this, so it's kind of the traditional, I guess you could say. It's kind of becoming a standard thing. It was in North America, but it hasn't really attracted as much attention here in Europe with those lane swaps. But it wasn't a lane swap, it was just a pile on the top.
And it wasn't even intentional in the end out of either team right there. But the real trick is Giants had to do something to stop Nono from farming that lane. We do see some nice damage on Samus. Did he get it?
He's used the Ghost. He was trying to pile in towards Freddy, but the shield is on there. He did use the Ignite and Ghost there. So full-on dive attempts from Samus, but didn't have the damage.
So I was trying to point out that, you know, against Authority, they lost their top turret, but now they have a free lane for Nono to farm in. Giants has to stop that. They have to keep pushing the top lane or start grouping and, you know, forcing objectives in other places to really not allow Nono to freeze the lane, which you see he's currently doing at this point. So if they keep letting Nono just farm up, that turret take early on will be a disadvantage to them instead of an advantage.
Well, Dude, he's trying to stay away. So what I'm seeing from Dude there, oh, actually going to get the root down and double plants on towards Babetta, keeping them away from that red buff. They are going to get in and get the ward down. Red buff will be spawning in around 1.5 minutes time. Looking like Dude was trying to stay away from Nono, so he's trying to feed as much experience as he can for the Nono right now.
And the thing is, it's a smart play. It really is. But he's going to need that level 6. He's going to need those amazing Zyra ultimates to stop Morden from being able to get in there and get that hard engage onto Nono. But, you know, he's leaving him alone in the lane right now. He's going to be leaving, and he's allowing Nono to pretty much freeze that lane as long as he keeps going to the mid lane to kind of counter that push that's going to be happening. Obviously, with those plants, with the grasping roots and that Q, he's going to be able to clear the waves out, or it's going to help be able to clear the waves out relatively quickly. And they're shutting down Giants from trying to switch the pressure somewhere else. As you see, everyone on the team heading towards Dragon right now, and they're doing a phenomenal job. They're forcing Against Authority to react to them.
Very aggressive play from the Giants here, getting straight in on towards that Dragon. Hail of Arrows going down as well as the wild card, so they really want this one. Just 6.5 minutes gone into this game. They've already got a turret, and now they're going to take down a Dragon. That's going to give them a 2,000 gold difference advantage, now building up over Against Authority.
And you see Freddy 1-2 left alone in this bottom lane. They knew Dragon was going on, and no one Against Authority came down to even help him here. This could be a 4-man dive and another turret going for Giants.
They're keeping the pressure going, and you can see the minion wave is there, so they should be able to get this one. It's a 4-man push. Middle-wise, Extermin has returned back there to keep Schleia busy, and it is going to go down. There's nothing at all they can do to this one. You can see Virtual trying to come and help out Freddy 1-2. There's nothing they can do. It's another turret for Giants.
And that was a great job of them to really keep that pressure on. You see in the top lane, Nono still freezing that lane, and that might come back to haunt him in the end. If Giants keep this up, they can easily get that middle turret now with just a 5-man push straight up Against Authority. And Extra, he is level 6 right now. He obviously had no chance to interact with any other lane here, but the ultimate will become more deadly. Since they have these outer turrets down, they can control the enemy jungle of Against Authority.
Well, there's a big difference also built up in the CS. It's a 20 CS difference between Freddy 1-2 and Samux. Samux looking very strong here on Olaf in the early stages of the game. Meanwhile, the mid lane, Schleia and Extermin, well, it's very even between those two, despite the fact the roaming that Extermin's been doing. Schleia's kind of trying to keep up there, but of course it's all been about the fact that they reacted. It's just snowballing from that very early play where everybody piled up the top lane.
And this is where you're going to see what makes a good team a great team. If they can react to this properly, they're still freezing lane. I keep saying that because it really is so important for this game. If Against Authority keeps doing that, Nono will either get really far ahead of Jim Bones or they'll fall really far behind because they'll lose objectives. And we're going to see how that does pan out eventually as we do finally have Jim Bones going to be returning towards that top side. So the lane finally has pushed back out a little bit.
Well, we haven't seen Jim Bones going back and buy yet. Nono going back and buy yet. It's up to 54 CS. Oh, they're going in towards him. They get the stun card down. He managed to get the tumble just at the right time. Can he finish it off, though? One more hit will do. No! Barrier comes through. Mana card. He's going to get away. The wild card's not going to land. Extermin takes a lot of tower damage now, a lot of minion damage. Can they chase it down? Schleier's chosen in there. Hasn't quite got teleport available. It doesn't matter. He should be able to get the slowdown. The flash comes out from Extermin, but better, and a hail of arrows from Jim Bones managed to slow Schleier's descent.
And in the meantime, we do see Blue being taken away from Mortar right now. They have 2 people on that bottom side of the map. We see Virtual in the middle lane. If Morden wants to, they could go for some pressure on this tier 2 turret. A great disengage out of Giants in the end right there, and a great job to keep Nono, or at least keep the pressure on him, not so he doesn't feel so safe in that lane, which he has been the past couple of minutes, pretty much sitting under his own turret.
So top lane at the moment is very much being held off and sustained. So, but Jimbone's returning back up there after successfully taking top and bottom. Morden, you can see just off the side, seeing if Freddy122 wants to take the bait. I don't think he's going to fall for that one. Instead, is no with that pink ward, had vision, realized someone was there. Bit of poke on towards that mid lane turret. Extermin comes back in to clear that out. So, where do we stand? It's a 3,000 gold difference. It's a 2 tower difference and a dragon to Giants right now. 7th place Giants versus 6th place against All Authorities. The damage going on towards, but better. Can they get him down, though? There's not enough burst.
Great flash out of him right there to escape. Does a great job against Authority as well to try to set up a kill as we have Virtual come in towards the top side. We might see a 3-man push, but Jimbo, he has his ultimate available right now. He could really delay this if he needs to, and Exeter's ultimate won't be up for another 40 seconds at this point, but he already is moving over towards his top side. Well,
it's a 3-man push, but it's without the AD carry, because Nono's in that mid lane, so they're not really going to get a massive amount of damage down on towards that turret. Instead, they are forced back just by that 2-man advantage, and while it's all happening, you can see Extermin, he's keeping busy in that mid lane, but Freddy122, he's managed to regain as much as he can, but still, there is that difference. Samux with a big advantage building towards this Freddy122 on Diana.
Yeah, at this point, it's a tricky point. They might be strong enough right now to finally go over some turret diving. I mean, they did take Dragon. They're going to have that coming up around 12 minutes in, but you have a Hex Drinker now picked up on Samux. He's going to be doing that magic resist to really go against that double AP composition. We should see Morden build into a Runic Bulwark, which will just hard counter against Soul Authority with that amount of magic resist built up. And with Vayne still kind of just not really ahead at this point, won't be doing that much damage until he is able to at least complete that Blade of the Rune King, but he might be going for a Bloodthirster as his first item.
Well, we'll see if he does manage to go for that. A BF sword, of course, the beginning workings. Could be anything, honestly. We don't know what these guys can go to. They have a number of options these days, which is the great part of the balance of League of Legends currently. Gives them many, many opportunities to go different ways, which actually is very different because normally with a Vayne, you'd see Phantom Dance the first item.
Well, it's Phantom Dancer, or nowadays it's Blade of the Rune King, since you got that attack speed on that item. You have the active to give you the extra speed, the heal as well. But I say Bloodthirster because he's going to need the sustain in these fights, because you have Olaf diving you, you have potentially Jarvan diving you, even Extra if he gets into that backside. So he needs to stay alive. If he does that, he'll be able to destroy the other team.
Well, Extermin, meanwhile, continues the farming process in his mid lane, and he's starting to build up a small gap over Slayer now. 10 CS difference between the two. That will, of course, be balanced out a little bit as Slayer cleaves his way through this wave. And now Morden coming around. So, Dragon will be up in 50 seconds. Looks like Giants are backing off and ready, or getting in position to have a go at this one. Samux is going to clear that bottom wave, and his prime position now. Ward goes down. And immediately pink comes out from Giants. They're aware of that one. Well, I expect to see the pink ward from Babetta going straight in towards that bush.
And the thing is, everything Giants are building right now is towards an engage. Like, they have the Twin Shadows now done on Twisted Fate, so they want to get that slow. They want to go for it. You have the Hex Drinker on Samux, who has the Ghost. He wants to rush into your team. Even if you're running double AP, he has a Magic Resist to kind of deal with that at this point. And they have the Sonar for the speed increase. They want to go for these fights. Like, they want to bait against Authority out of their own base, out of their comfort zone, and really start to take some wins here. But, I mean, taking Dragon is almost just as good. We hear a Ghost Pop.
What the?
Not sure if that was a mistake or not.
I think that was definitely a mistake by Virtual. Not too sure why he even put that Ghost down, and now he's just realized his mistake, and that may well cost him the game, you know. I mean, obviously, whether they're to turn this fight around, but that was absolutely meant that, you know, against All Authorities, they can't fight for this.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't even think they could fight for it anyways, because Giants are so much stronger. We see Twisted Fate actually going into the top lane, but not hitting Diana.
Giving it away a little bit too soon. Didn't really get anything to lock down Freddy122.
But still, it doesn't matter. You see the rest of Giants are coming up towards this top side. They have against All Authority caught with their pants down, as you see Zyra pushing the middle lane. And the only one to really react to this is Virtual, and it won't be enough.
There's going to be enough, and it's going to be First Blood finally coming out here 13 minutes in. No, meanwhile, is pushing that top lane. The teleport cancelled out there. He didn't want to go for his Slayer. Instead, he's going to try and push that middle turret. So they may even get a middle and top turret down here. No should take that turret down at the top there. It is going to be the inner bottom turret. The Giants do take down 3-0, but that could well be 3-2 if they get in there. Jimbo's reacts in the mid lane, saves it out. Top will go down.
And you really have to say, Jimbo's done a phenomenal job of keeping up in terms of CS with Nono, because he's been roaming around. He's been playing a lot of pressure everywhere, but he's only about 10 CS behind at this point, which is exceptional considering the circumstances.
Well, as it stands. So let's have a look. 1-0. I can't believe there's only been 1 kill so
Yeah,
far.
I was just going to say that. I was like, first blood, what? What happened?
Yeah. It's been a pretty crazy, hectic start with a lot of towers going down. And, you know, towers eventually do win games with that Nexus being the prime target. But whether they're going to go for blue here, Jim Bones is going to come across. I think he wants to try and steal it. There's a seed been planted there, though, so they know that he's coming by. Can he get the snipe off? Ah, not quite. That was very close, though. And it's Slayer that gets the blue.
We saw that happen yesterday with Hosan on Dragon, but unfortunately it didn't work out from there. And we do see item builds kind of coming to fruition right now for Against Authority. I think Crepo might be a little sad because Nasher's going to be quite toothless yet again, as we see Freddy 122 and Shlaya both going for that item. They want that attack speed. They want to be able to shred down the enemy team. And it's the perfect items to pick up for that team because, you know, Dyna's passive does so much damage, kills AoE, not to mention the Reckoning off, or the passive off of her is just going to shred through her targets.
No, going to come in. He has got that Bloodthirster now, so that damage on towards that turret isn't going to be enough. The plants go down to try and keep him away. The stun card from Extermin, though, gets good damage on towards No, forces half of his health down. And that's going to give a lot of poke. But look at Samux. He's almost in the base right now. He's on the inhibitor turret.
And Exter has his ultimate up. Like, they're trying to stall him as long as possible. Freddy 122's trying to back. He does get interrupted, though. And we're going to see Olaf keep pushing that top side, or maybe even come around the back as you do see him put down a ward just to make sure he's safe. And he's fine to keep pushing, and in the end, Against Authority, if they're not going to lose their bottom turret, they're going to lose that middle turret.
They're going to lose one, that's for sure. Freddy 122 having to react, but we can see the middle turret going down here. Giants get their 4th turret of the game and continue pushing straight up that mid lane. Samus continuing to keep his presence and felt in that top lane, as bottom lane, sorry, on towards that inhibitor turret. And Against All Authorities, you would not think their performance against Giants was so spectacular right now, because they are really up against it here. 6,000 gold already down against Giants, just 15.5 minutes in this game. That is a huge lead.
Yeah, that really is, because you see the item difference just building up right now. You have Exter, he has the Sheen, he's going for that Lich Bait, and they want to go for the quick pushing. They want to end this game early. They don't want to let it Against Authority get to that late game dominance that they really do have with their composition, and they're doing a phenomenal job of it. I mean, we've seen Samix just pushing that bottom lane the entire time, still hasn't left yet. He has 129 CS, he's sitting on about 800 gold right now, but he has a giant spot, he has a red pot, so if anyone does try to gank him, you're going to have to send more than one person to do that.
Yeah, that's the problem. The fact that Freddy 122 fell behind, there's just nothing he can do. It's the standard split push lane. Once you get that big disadvantage, you can't really do a great deal against it. And the problem is, for Against All Authorities, it's pulling another member towards them, and it's giving the rest of Giants that massive advantage, and they are just piling down those turrets right now. So let's see where they're going to try and create something. Samux in that bottom lane. Will we see Extermin? He's heading this way. They want to go for No. Here comes the ultimate. They're going to get the Destiny on towards him. The stun card is there. Can they finish him off? Yes, they will this time. And Samux picks up the kill on No.
Great job right then. Twisted Fate, Extra, amazing play out of him. He popped the ultimate a little bit early, just so if Vayne did ult up, try to stealth away, Samux would be able to spot him, get that slow, land that gold card. And that was a great pickup on No. The first time it didn't work out, but this time it did. And they're going to continue to push this bottom lane. Freddy 122, who's in the top lane, has to back out, has to really defend here. And that allows Jimbo to get a nice extra chunk of farm. And we've talked about, you know, them grouping up and pushing. He's pretty much bang even with No right now in CS.
Well, and all this pressure in this bottom lane is going to create an opportunity in the middle lane, so they're going to either lose an inhibitor turret or the inner turret, and it's going to be one or the other for Against All Authorities. The choice is indeed theirs. They don't have Jim Bones with them, though, on this push. He's just farming out that top lane, so the pressure's going to continue on there. Morden getting caught out there. The root comes in, but he was already sliding away.
And Damon, I don't know, you could probably agree with me on this. This is the Giants we saw in the beginning of the season. The controlled chaos that they like to provide in these games really gives them a nice bit of an advantage. We do see Giants potentially getting caught there, but they do back away. And the thing Against Authority has, like the problem they're having is they don't have a solid engage right now. They don't have anyone who can get into the enemy team, especially with Virtual's Ghost being down.
Well, that is going to be finally Against All Authority taking that middle turret down. Jim Bones has shoved on that top wave, so there's a creep wave pushing on towards the top lane turret. We do see Extermin still down here. He's going to back away. That Sheen glistening. And what is he going to buy? Is he going to get towards that Lich Bane? Has he got enough? I don't think he has quite yet. We'll see which way he goes with that build. I'm expecting the Lich Bane to come out before the Zhonya's Hourglass. He hasn't even backed away. He's like, I see an opportunity forming here.
Yeah, he might be able to get this kill over Turkey. He's going to wait in that bush.
He does manage to get the stun card and the wild card, but he hasn't really got the damage to take down Slayer, of course. Could have tried to force intervention instead. He's just going to wipe out that creep wave. And Against All Authorities, they are so left wanting right now. They don't seem to have any answer to the aggression the Giants are showing.
Yeah, they don't at all, and it's only going to get worse for them because you see Babette, he picked up an Oracle. He's going to clear out all the vision that Against Authority has in the jungle, which you see at this moment is pretty good. Like they're trying to keep their own jungle alive, trying to keep that farm going, that income of gold, but Dragon will be up in another 6 seconds. You see Giants just waiting for it. And we still have Samix. He hasn't even really been there for Dragon. He's just been pushed this entire time.
Oh, Crescendo not quite landing, but it doesn't matter. The wildcard came in there because the hail of arrows, and that is a very dead dude. And he didn't quite manage to escape this time around. He just walked straight in. Wasn't really, you know, he just wanted to get the ward down towards the Dragon, but unfortunately there was already a ward ready and waiting for him at blue buff.
And against Authority, they're trying to react to this. They're trying to go for a push on this middle lane as they kind of are circling around towards Dragon, but it's too late. That first turret is down. They're not going to be able to push that second turret down anytime soon. And now with that Dragon being taken, they got the gold from that, but now the lanes are pushed in against them, at least in the top and middle side, and they're going to be getting a lot more gold on top of that.
Well, they're trying to show some aggression here. They want to try and get in and steal the red buff, which may work out for them, but look at Morden. It's your traditional jungler. He doesn't want to give up. He's going to walk in. Will he get the smite? No. Tried to get the
Jimbone's got
balance in there. Jimbone's got it instead with a hail of arrows, I think he stole it with,
Also, he didn't get the blue earlier, but he redeemed himself by getting the red right there. So good job by him. It made that invade out of against Authority mean absolutely nothing. But we do see the Lich Bane now done on Exter. We see an Infinity Edge now done on Varus. They are leaps and bounds beyond against Authority in terms of items. They can start to force these fights. And with that Oracle, they could even potentially start to force a Baron because you have the % damage on Varus.
So, where will Giants strike next? 4-2 up in turrets. Mid lane, well, it's been shoved up once. The inhibitor turret in the bottom lane, that has been shoved up as well. The top lane has definitely had pressure. And looking across the board, you can see now, in terms of CS, Freddy122 has actually gained himself back in there because Samix has been shoving it. He's been able to have some free time with himself down that bottom lane. You can see the gold advantage, though. Just look at it across the board. All those turrets, all those dragons, it is building up across every single member of Giants right now.
Oh, it's like, are you bringing it back? Is it coming back to you?
Oh my god, Riot Secrets, it's been leaked. It's not, ladies and gentlemen.
RiotSecrets.doc.
Yeah.
But anyways, I mean, he's going to be built into the Aegis. He wants to get that Runic Bulwark to get that double AP composition just kind of nuked away. And we do see Freddy going in against Samix, but it's not effective against an Olaf who can just ult and just run away.
Well, he used that Ragnarok, though, so, well, you know, I guess it forced that to be popped. It means it's not going to be available for the next fight, but it's a pretty quick reset, and I don't think they're going to be forcing any fights anytime soon, so they're just sort of amalgamating their big advantage they have right now. 3-0 up in kills, big gold advantage, 7-0 up in kills, in gold, sorry, and a 4-2 turret advantage, which equates to where are they going to show up next? Looking like top, as it's going to be Extermin split pushing bottom.
And the thing is, their aggression's kind of fallen back. They've been a little bit more passive now that they went back and bought after that last Dragon, but they need to keep that aggression on because against Authority, they're sticking this game. In CS, they're not really that far behind anywhere. They're down 20 in top with Diana and with Vayne, but that's really not that much in the end of it. But Giants with that Oracle, they're trying to deny a lot of vision. There are a lot of pink wards committed. We see Twistfate ulting into that top side.
He's going in towards the top lane. It's more a case of just trying to get the damage down, and that's exactly what he's going to do. And it does look like it's going to be the tower going down. Yes, it will. There's nothing going to stop that one. Are they going to try and turn for it? Oh, this time Virtual has gone aggressive, but look at that straight away. Catch him down. Virtual absolutely singled out and decimated. Cataclysm on his head. Freddy122, well, doesn't matter. Ultimate used, but the damage wasn't on him. Instead, it's going to be No-No going down. There is a limit to his abilities, and it does look like Morden's going to get caught on towards Freddy122. Slide comes in, decimated, but better picking up the kill this time. And now there's not a great deal that can stop him getting towards his inhibitor turret.
That's only one that stands between them is Schleia and Diod. If Schleia comes in, he could potentially pick up a kill here, but Giants just going to go headfirst in this turret. They should be able to get that. They're going to be backing with quite a bit of gold as well, and Baron now is a very real possibility for Giants.
It's a real possibility, but it's the inhibitor they're going to take first, and there's 3 members of Against All Authority going to come out, but there is no authority that will stop. Giants taken down. Oh, the route on towards Extermin. He might get dropped here. Yeah, he's going to be taken down. Finally, they do pick up the kill. It's the first kill of the game for Against All Authority, but honestly, it's more of an exit frag that we'd call in another game.
And still, I mean, it's a 10,000 gold difference, 6-1, 6 turrets to 2 at this point, 23 minutes in. This is a huge gold lead, and you're seeing it reflected in items, you're seeing it reflected in Giants and just how aggressive they're playing in terms of team fighting right there. And I gotta give credit to Babetta. That was a great flash crescendo right there onto Against All Authority. Wasn't really expecting it, even though Freddy, I mean, he was trailing Freddy the entire time, so Freddy knew he was there, but still, great turnaround by Giants, getting the kills and taking that gold home to buy.
So, where do we stand? Giants have a big advantage now. Inhibitor down 6-2 in turrets, and that gold lead, look at it, 11,000 gold at 23.5 minutes into the game. That is enormous right now. It is well over 30%, I feel, and it looking like potentially the Baron. You called it earlier on, it's where they could go, and there's honestly, I don't think against the authorities, even if they went in a straight 5v5 right now, they would have no chance, even with Baron hitting on the Giants.
And the thing is, Giants don't really have to go for it. They can just, start. They can bait against authority into it, allow Twisted Fate to just start split pushing a little bit. You have the top inhibitor down, so someone has to respond to that. Send them bot lane. He can keep pushing up, just get a nice disengage with Giants, and then you'll be completely fine. You have the Crescendo to get away. You have the speed buff out of Sona to get away. Not to mention that Varus ultimate.
So, Extermin going in towards that top lane. And again, all lanes being shoved. There's absolutely no reason why they would go for Baron right now, because they have the pressure across the map anyway. They don't need to force it. It looks like they may well try and force something in his middle turret, though. We do see Samux heading towards there. The ping's coming down. Extermin, of course, he's going to keep them super minions shoving in the top lane. And the rest of Giants, they're starting to group in towards this middle turret.
It almost seems like Extra wants to be a little bit like Expect and Frog and saying, hey guys, I can do it too. But you see in the bottom lane, Samux still being aggressive. He doesn't want to leave that bottom lane alone at all. He's been pushing this entire game, getting that turret very low now. But still, you see Jibbones take out that middle tier 2 turret, and the rest of Giants looks like they might even head back towards Baron. I kind of want to say they are, but they did take a nice ward down in that Wraith bush, and they might be baiting in against Authority, and Dude might fall for it.
Oh no, you've got to move, Dude, and he does try and get out of there. He did just about get away. What are you doing, Freddy122? You can't just go blind checking a bush like that with his 4 members start there. Virtual this time, he's going to get caught out. They knew they were there. They already just saw him sliding towards it. Absolute crazy play. Freddy122 losing his mind a little bit there, and it does look like they're going to go in towards this bottom turret. Of course, it's already down half health, this bottom inhibitor turret, so I would expect them to push in towards it. Giants, of course, they can go from both angles. Samux, he's quite happily soloing that bottom lane, and it's going to be the middle turret going down, so another inhibitor gone. And Giants, they are setting up a great performance here. They are battling, they are fighting to get 6th place back, and this is an absolute talisman they are laying down coming into Super Week to really keep the pressure on towards Giants. This is definitely a race we're going to have to keep our eyes on, because remember, 7th and 8th place goes straight to relegation fights. 6th to 3rd, you could possibly get through. And right now, that's SK Gaming versus one of these teams, if positions would stay the same. So it is so vital, of course, that last battle, that last tournament. We're effectively going to have 3 Super Weeks running. It's going to be exhausting for the players, the teams, the casters, but it's going to be magnificent.
Magnificent completely, because this is where every team's been fighting for. You know, these bottom 4 teams, or actually, sorry, even bottom 7, I have to say in the end, because they could potentially all lose their spots. They've been fighting this, or sorry, bottom 6, they've been fighting for this for, how long has it been now? 10 weeks? Or 9 weeks at this point to hold onto their spot in LCS. This is their lifestyle. This is what they do for a living. And why would you want to get rid of that when you get paid to play professionally in League of Legends? You do see, I was saying, Baron started right now. All 3 inhibitors are down 26 minutes, and there's nothing against Authority can do to stop this. And Giants, it looks like they're trying to go for the close.
Yeah, it's one of those things you don't feel until it's gone, I guess.
Exactly,
the fact that you're paid to play this, there's so many million players of League of Legends that will be sat watching this and thinking, I wish that was my job. I wish that was my job. Don't worry, guys. Everybody thinks the same. You know, these players have a pretty awesome lifestyle overall. But as it stands, double minions, double super minions coming straight in the top, the bottom, and the middle. All angles for Against All Authority there. Definitely up against it here. And the Giants, they have been massive in this game.
And you see, I mean, he's been trying to level up something to really help his team. He has his W leveled up, he has that Silver Bolts done, but he doesn't have any attack speed behind that. So he's not going to be doing too much damage against Authority. They're going to have to fight for here, because if they don't, they're going to lose their Nexus turrets and the game. And then we will see one final big glorious engage happening here, Demon.
Yeah, they're definitely building up towards it. Virtual's been caught out. One more shot, but the intervention comes in, and here comes Morton sliding into victory, and there's going to Cataclysm bounce on their heads, just hanging off the fountain, and Samux is pulling the damage down. Look at the side there. There's another execution coming out from the Giants, but it's going to be the Nexus that goes down. No does finish with a kill, but it's all about the Giants in their battle to try and claim 6th place off Against All Authority, who looked magnificent. It was yesterday against Gambit, but it wasn't to be today. Giants from the very start, 2 minutes in, were taking turrets.
Let me ask you this, Demon. Did you expect this game to be that action-packed and end in 27 or 28 minutes?
I wasn't expecting it to be so quick and aggressive from the Giants. I think they caught Against All Authority and everybody else watching completely napping in that game.
Yeah, they really did. And you see them shaking hands. great job by both teams. And Giants, I mean, where was the Giants the past 6 weeks? Like, where have they been?
Where is this team? And I mentioned it. They've done it against Evil Geniuses. They've done it against Gambit. Finally, it seems to be transcending into battling the lesser teams that they are up against, which effectively they're fighting for positions for. So we're going to get over to our analysis desk and really take us through. It's a tricky one to take a highlight from, honestly, because it was a pretty one-sided performance from the Giants. Joe and Quickshot.
Yeah, very strong performance there coming out of Giants. That will actually put them tied now on wins and losses with Against All Authority, thanks to this amazing day that they've had here. As Demon rightly pointed out there, it's hard for us to pick some real amazing highlights out of that game because it was very thorough in terms of, okay, we get 4 men here, we take this turret, then we go here, we take this turret, we get a kill here, then we move here, and it was just really a perfect game from Giants.
I definitely want to add some, context to that, because from the very early moments when they took that top turret down and then rotated to the bottom turret, the Giants did something which was very, very impressive. They actually stopped killing the turret for a little while. They had the numbers advantage, and they allowed the turret to take down a couple of waves of minions and deny that experience and gold from their opponents. So instead of just rushing it down and taking it 10 or 15 seconds earlier, which would have made no difference to them, they denied more resources, and they did it intentionally on both the top lane and on the bottom lane, just taking away as much gold and as much experience from your opponents. So it was a great, great, great play. From the very get-go, that early gold advantage, it just snowballed. They did a very early dragon. They literally just got all the global objectives they could because they brute forced their way into those opening towers.
Yeah, and my notes from this one literally start pretty much every single point with Giants, ...
Yeah.
It's like Giants take this tower, they take this tower, they gank here, they take this, they take that, and it was just such a great game out of Giants. Against All Authority, I think, will be a little bit disappointed that they couldn't put up any, contest to a lot of those objectives where they probably felt that if they did some things differently, they the way that Giants played that game at least. But let's jump into our first replay.
All right, so let's set the tone for this. It is a big advantage for Giants, but this was the team fight that really catapulted them into the victory. Let's jump into the replay. It's 21 minutes 50 on the screen. There's about an 8,000 gold lead for the Giants, and you can see them pushing this top lane turret. Exter has already used his destiny, so it's just worn off. The vision has told him where every single member of his opponent's team are. And I just want to point out the positioning of Babetta, because he arrives a little bit late to the party, but it's actually key to the engagement. So we'll unpause this and follow it. Virtual immediately goes in for some aggression, but there's 2 very key reasons why this fight went in favor of Giants. First of all, they get the tower down. Secondly, Jim Bones completely zones out the opposing team with Chain of Corruption. Schleyer jumps in there again to distract the damage dealers of Schleyer and No-No. I'm not 100% sure why Morden almost wasted his Cataclysm on Virtual. I mean, it was so clear it was going down. But nevertheless, he jumps back in. And again, you see the damage.
¿Qué pensabais?
Sabíamos que AAA es un equipo que nos cuesta mucho, nos ha ganado 2 partidos y siempre nos crean muchos problemas en el limit porque nos dominan demasiado. Entonces, como nos ha costado mucho, veíamos muy difícil poder sacar kills con sus personajes y con TP y demás, hemos pensado que sería bueno ir sacando objetivos poco a poco, después de tirar torre rápido, hacer dragón, lo tenemos timeado ellos no, y aprovechar todo el rato el snowball de dragón.
Okay, so normally when they play against AAA, they get a bit behind in the early game, mid game, because the AA is good at controlling objectives. So they focus more on that, having good wards, good coverage on their jungle, and just trying not to focus on the kills, but more on the objectives, having Drake timed all the time perfectly, and just going for it every time they could.
All right. Seems that you've gotten your groove back just in time. Your focus level is really high. So what changed in your mindset between last week and now, where you can beat teams like EG and AAA?
Que habéis mejorado bastante, que ha cambiado en vuestra mentalidad de no poder ganar a muchos equipos, a poder ganar a equipos como EG y ahora A.
Bueno, yo creo que no es cosa de mentalidad, es cuestión de un poco de cómo se ganan las partidas, por lo menos para nosotros. Es decir, igual que hemos ganado 2 partidas a Gambit, hemos perdido 3 contra vosotros, ¿sabes? O sea, va un poco a partidas, nos hemos mentalizado de que cada partida es diferente, no lo contamos como liga, sino como si fuera una eliminatoria, y a ganar cada partida y que se haga lo mejor posible.
Yeah, they don't see it like a bad streak or something like that. Like every game is different. you can have 2 bad games in a row, 2 good games in a row, and like he said, they beat Gambit twice, and they lost to Fnatic 3 times. But it's just different games. It's best of 1. They can win or they can lose, and they go into every game like not like a league, but like a single elimination game.
Okay. But in order for you guys to stay in the LCS, of course, you're going to have to beat some up-and-coming teams, possibly. So do you think you have what it takes to beat teams like Alternate or MYM, and why are you stronger than them?
Para quedaros en la LCS tendréis que jugar posiblemente contra equipos buenos como MYM o Alternate. ¿Cómo creéis que lo haréis contra ellos?
Pues bueno, esperamos quedar sextos y que nos vaya bien los playoffs y no enfrentarnos a no tener que jugar la relegation esta. Pero cuando acabe el LCS, en el caso de que tengamos que jugarlo, estudiamos a los equipos, sabemos que son fuertes. A mí sobre todo nos da bastante respeto, pero los conocemos bastante y creo que podemos dar bastante bien la talla.
Yeah, their aim is to get like spot 6, do good in the tournament and stay in the league without having to play the relegation. But if they have to, they're a bit not scared, but they respect NYM a lot because they are a really good team. But they still think they can beat them if they play their best.
Okay. Giants fighting. Thank you very much, Xpeke and Babetta. All right, you got one last chance to hit us up on Twitter, and of course, give us your answer to today's Twitter question. Which North American player would you add into the European All-Star team and why? You can hit us up at LOL Esports, #LCS. And now in 3rd place, SK doesn't have the best record against Gambit or Fnatic. I'm sure Ocelot and his team will want to show us something and will want to show that they can bring down the big boys. Let's see if they can do it versus Gambit. Gambit versus SK Gaming, up next. Muchas gracias.